we are truly delighted to have you with us for today's seminar on ocean carbon sequestration and climate resilience. I am Chuanlun Zhang from the Southern University of Science and Technology, and joining me as co-host is Dr. Yernar Sailybayev and his son, a young generation leader, to join us in today's session. It is our great honor to introduce today's keynote speaker, Dr. Weidong, the Deputy Dean of the School of Atmospheric Sciences and Director of the Center for Ocean Expedition at Sailybayev University. His research focuses on ocean-atmosphere interactions and their role in climate, particularly over the Indo-Pacific Oceans. Professor Yu presently serves as the co-chair of the Ocean Observation Physics and Climate Panel, OOPC, and as scientific executive of the UN Ocean Decade Collaborative Center for Ocean Climate Nexus, very relevant to today's seminar. He'll be presenting today on the topic, International Governance of UN Ocean Decade, China's Perspective. Following his presentation, we'll be joined by three outstanding panelists with the unique research and international collaboration capabilities for an insightful panel discussion. Professor Dahai Liu from Zheng University of China, a recipient of the National Talent Program and chief scientist for the UN Ocean Decade Project, Global Ocean Spatial Planning 2060, has published extensively, including in Science and Nature family journals, and has received numerous prestigious awards for his research. Next, we have Dr. Yuntao Wang from the Second Institute of Oceanography, Ministry of Natural Resources. Dr. Wang is an expert on the UN Ocean Decade Strategic Communications Group. His research utilizes satellite remote sensing and modeling to study mesoscale ocean processes and their impacts on marine ecosystems and the carbon cycle, leading key national and international projects. We also have Mr. Zheng Guang Zhu from the China Aquatic Products Processing and Marketing Alliance, CAPPMA. Dr. Zhu, Professor Zhu, holds a Master of Public Administration from the University of Sydney, with over a decade of international experience. He specializes in marine fisheries negotiations, conservation, sustainable seafood supply chains, and global marine environmental governance, collaborating with the major international organizations. Without further ado, I would like to invite all four outstanding scientists and experts for today's topic to give today's seminar. First, we have Dr. Weidong to give a 30-minute presentation. Weidong, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Professor Zhang. Okay, then I will share with you some of my personal and also institutional perspective on the international governance of the UN Ocean Decade. So really have some discussion with a panel expert and all the participants. I think it is easily to understand why we need the ocean decade. So as a human being, we are living on the continent. We are, the residents of this blue planet. But in fact, we are living on a floating continent. So we are, the ocean is our very close neighbors. And the ocean is really connected us and makes the world is very enjoyable. So I give example of shipping lanes without the ocean. So the world will be separated. But now we are very closely, very intimately connected together as a one world. But on the other hand, even the ocean is very important for us. It's just a small piece of ocean is regularly at the moment observed and monitored. So this brings our concern. At the UN level, we understand that there is a lot of a process or legal process is running. Try to protect the ocean, try to get to help us to living more in harmony with the ocean. So all this kind of UN process is very important. One of them is very much relevant today. It's a SDG 2030. So it's a sustainable development. The ocean is play a very important role for us to help us to realize that this is a SDG target. But the problem is, as I mentioned before, it's just 10% of the ocean is regularly monitored or measured. The fact is we can't manage what we do not measure. So we still do not really fully understand our ocean. So that is why I think we need such an important initiative, UN Ocean Decade. We try to better observe the ocean, try to better understand the ocean, protect the ocean, conserve the ocean, and then living with the ocean. So this is a key information I would like to talk today. Yeah, you are quite aware of our development of this UN Ocean Decade. So this is adopted at the UN General Assembly after several years progress. I would like to say, so during this process to prepare, plan this UN Ocean Decade, so we have a lot of international experts and also the UN office are involved. In fact, this is a very important process. It's including bottom-up. That means expert-based and also top-down. So it's from the various of UN office agencies, institutions, and other relevant stakeholders. Contribute to a lot of ideas of what kind of UN Ocean Decade we really need. At the moment, we say this is a decade advisory about these experts from all over the world to guide the progress of this UN Ocean Decade. At the moment, we are in 2025. So this is the halfway for this UN Decade. So let's review our initial consideration. So this is the status of the ocean we have at the beginning of the decade. We have a lot of challenge, particularly the listed 10 challenges. You are quite familiar with all these 10 challenges. I no need to mention one by one. And what we want is after the decade, at end of 2030, we would like to have a wonderful ocean, the ocean we really want. That means it's a healthy, clean, healthy, productive, predictive, safe, accessible, and inspiring ocean. At the moment, I emphasize we are already on the midway, but we need to think about how well we are going on. One issue we need to have a more reflection is a kind of a governance. So let's say, so firstly, to understand the overall administration structure of the UN Ocean Decade. So I think it's at the top, it's for sure, it's our UN General Assembly. But for the implementation, for the operation, the IOC play a very important role through the Decade Advisory Board, and also through a tiered of global distributed offices, including the Decade Collaboration Unit in Paris, and also Decade Coordination Office, Decade Collaborative Centers across the world. So this kind of a structure make us to engage the people, engage the country from all over the world to support this kind of a UN Ocean Decade. I would like to show this map to you. So this is a global distribution of a different decade office and also collaborative centers. So at the moment, we have a 4 DCO. So that means this kind of a decade coordination office is responsible by the UN offices at the UN level. And we also have 8 decade collaborative centers they are located in the different countries. So in China, we host one called Ocean Climate Nexus, and also coordination among Chinese DIPs. In short, we call it DCC OCC. This is hosted by First Institute Oceanography in Qingdao. We work together with other DCCs in other countries, other continents, try to support the implementation and progress of this UN Ocean decade. I would say, yeah, this DCC DCO is a somewhat polarization. So you can notice some continents even they do not have any office. So I can pointing out to Africa and South America. So this is an example in the global South. So this kind of engagement is still not satisfactory. So this is my main concern from this presentation and also a reflection I will share with you. And recently, the new report is available. You can check this full report. That is a Global Ocean Observing System Status Report 2025. As I mentioned, is we try to manage the ocean. We try to have a good management of the global ocean, but the problem is we do not have enough data. So we only regularly monitor or observe almost around 10% of the global ocean. So that is a very challenging issue. So I would like to dive into the global ocean observing system to say how much, so how many data we have in hand. So this is from this year's status report, we understand the global ocean observing system is expanding compared with several years ago. But I have to say this kind of expanding is mainly from the Argo flows. But when we check the other some other networks, some networks are declining. In summary, so there are totally 64 contributing countries. That means that 64 countries make a contribution to support this global ocean observing system. This number is not so big. So this is what I'm trying to discuss with all of you is the engagement more countries, member countries through this UN Ocean Decade to support this ocean observing system. Yeah, this is a overall distribution, including the different platforms. So from these global maps, it seems like we have a lot of data. But in fact, remember, it's the small dots. In fact, it's a kind of it's a really not really like what it really looks like. It's in fact at a global ocean, our data is still very sparse. But I would like to share another fact with you. So from my observation, it's a very challenging fact. Yeah, from these slides, my concern is most of the data is coming from a small number of countries, but the developing country contribute too much, to a very small percentage of data. For in case of Argo flows, so China contributed about a little bit more than 2%, and India a little bit more than 2%. The situation is very much similar for other platforms like drifters, ocean size, and also ship-based observation. Yeah, in conclusion, the engagement of the countries at a global scale is still not very satisfactory. So the global ocean is mainly is supported by a limited number of developed countries. So I think during the UN Ocean Decade, engagement of a developing country and try to help the developing country to develop their capacity of the global or coastal observing network is very essential. Yeah, following that kind of a distribution, the point is the global south is still lagging very much behind when we look at a global ocean observing system. So that means the global south countries have no or not much ocean data in their hand. Therefore, their capacity to address the climate change, to address different kinds of risk is still not very well developed. So we should pay more attention on the global south countries, particularly over the Southeast Asia, over the Africa, and over the South American country. So many of these developing countries has a very poor capacity for the coastal or global ocean observing system, but they are exposed to a lot of climate change risk. So they are still very much vulnerable to this kind of pressure. This is what I want to emphasize and share with you. So the way forward is try to working more hardly with the regional goods. So we know it's a global scale, and the goods is supplemented by the regional goods alliance. So this is the regional goods distribution. So when we look at different region, there are some different agencies or system or framework try to support the regional goods system. The regional goods is more focused on the coastal region and more address the member country requirements. So it's more working closely with the regional goods is one way we can address this kind of engagement issues during the process of UN Ocean Decade. So I think we are developing some kind of mechanism. For example, I give two examples on the new mechanism, how we can better engage the developing country or global south countries there. So one is the BRICS. So that BRICS mechanism is already place ocean on its agenda. The BRICS is a kind of a political alliance, but the ocean is becoming more and more attention to be discussed at the BRICS. This is one example. Last year, the BRICS Ocean Polar Workshop in Russia. So we say it's a developing country are trying to working together to address this kind of ocean concern. Another very promising example is on the G20. So we know that G20 is becoming more and more influential. And this year, just several days ago, South Africa is handed over the G20 presidency to US. So in a process of a G20, they are developing the Ocean 20 process. I think this shining idea starting from Bali, from Indonesia, and then hand over to Brazil. The Brazil government also pushed this very hardly of this Ocean 20. And this year in South Africa, the Ocean 20 get a lot of attention there, and they publish Ocean 20 communique. So the purpose is try to advance a sustainable and inclusive ocean economy. So I think this is a very important and very promising development. It's a good way, a good framework to engage more countries, pay attention on the ocean. So when you read this Ocean 20 communique, so you will find it's many very good recommendations. So this is a priority actions for the G20 members. When you read it out, you can say it's a lot of interesting keywords like renewable energy, blue economy, research innovation, MCDR, finance, ocean literacy, blue food, ocean technology, and deep sea governance and protection. So all these are very popular or very important topics. And I mentioned before in Qingdao in China, we host the DCC OCC. So DCC OCC is trying to support this kind of engagement. For example, we are discussing with relevant partners, try to look for the possibility to set up a regional office in Africa, try to support the UN Ocean Decade Africa Roadmap, and also try to set up the regional office in Southeast Asia try to engage more Southeast Asia developing country into this UN Ocean Decade process. And another thing I pay much attention is innovation. That is a very important topic because when we look back into the past 1 century of a history of ocean data development. So this is starting from last century in the early 1925 till now, it's already 1 century, 100 years. This curve, this developing curve represents how well we observe the ocean. But I would like to draw your attention for the very dramatic increase of ocean data after the year of 2000, the new century. So this new century, we see a dramatic increase of ocean data. So this is what we call the data tsunami. So that means we have several times more data than the last century. But the reason behind is a new technology. Traditionally, we get the data through the vessels, through the instrument. But at the moment, most of data are coming to our office through such kind of robotic observation. So I just show you several platforms of this kind of robotic. So there's no need. We go to the sea, they will work for us. We collect the data in the office. So this kind of innovation really changed the landscape of the ocean science. And DCC now is try to support this kind of innovation and also new technology transfer to the developing countries. And the third keywords or topic I try to address, share with you is prioritization. The global ocean is so vast. We could not invest. It's a challenge to invest in a truly global ocean, but we need to identify some priorities. I think the tropics is one of the priorities. From the tropics and also the polar region is one of the two of the priorities. Another priority I would like to emphasize is a coastal ocean. So in the past several years, it's different agencies, programs that try to address the coastal open ocean connection, because the coastal ocean is so much relevant, so much supported our society. This is an example of the upwelling and also the food security. So the fishing ground is mainly in a coastal region. So this is one example why the coastal should be our concern. When you look at the biodiversity, the coastal again is a priority. And I give a very lovely example. It's the eel industry. Eel is very popular in Asian countries, but when we look at eel, it's a kind of ocean and coastal connection because eel have their spawning ground in the open ocean, and the babies will going back with the ocean currents to our coastal region. So this kind of eel industry is heavily rely on the understanding of a coastal open ocean connection. And recently is very much a concern on this marine heat wave. This marine heat wave, we understand that most of the marine heat wave happened or occurs in a coastal region. They cause a lot of trouble for our coastal ecosystem. One example, this is a so-called first tipping point already reached, which is represented by the coral reef, massive coral reef bleaching. And lastly, my concern is a ship time accessible for the global south country. So we understand it's the developing countries' lack of extremely of ship time makes them a limited capacity to going into the deep ocean. Then that means the coastal open ocean connection is broken down. I would like to give you one example. This is a very excellent example, successful example. This is a NASA program is working with FAO. It's last 50 years, they have a very successful support to the developing country to understand, pre-console, sustainable exploration of their fishery resources. I think we should, during the UN Ocean Decade, we should learn from this kind of great success example. And the UN, DCC OCC is now try to play a more important role, try to look for some kind of coordination on this shape plan to support the developing countries. So in a final summary, I would like to emphasize this UN Ocean Decade is really important for us. It's because this is it's a once in a life opportunity to redefine our human being ocean connection and also try to improve the global ocean governance. Some reflection at the midpoint of this decade include we should more focus on this kind of inclusiveness, engaging more global South countries into these initiatives. Otherwise, we could not guarantee it's truly success. And also the second point is try to engaging. It's not easy. So the way to engage is by the capacity building, the innovation transfer, and also bring a more access of a shape plan to the developing country. And finally, I would like to emphasize the coastal ocean should be emphasized, should be receive more attention, which is not too much addressed during the first half of the UN Ocean Decade. So I really hope with this reflection, we can have a more successful second half and make sure at the end of 2030, we are really achieve our target success. Okay, Professor Zhang, I think I stop here.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Weidong, for a brief but very exciting presentation about China's perspective on the Ocean Decade. I would, before we move on to the panel discussion, maybe Weidong, you can briefly also summarize what China's next 5 years plan is in terms of the whole collective efforts.
Professor Zhang, this is a very challenging question. I could not say on behalf of the whole country, but anyway, I make some observation. I really understand is in China, it's many institutions, many universities are very actively join this kind of UN Ocean Decade. So I believe in the coming 5 years will be the high-speed progress period. But I would like to suggest China should engage or working together more closely with our partners, global partners, particularly from the developing country, try to support them, help them to work with us. Just like we usually say, we should work in a bigger team. Yeah, I hope that is my hope for the next 5 years. Not only we have a success, but with the team, all the team will be a success.
Okay, all right, thank you. Now we can move on to the panel discussion. Again, joining us are Professor Dahai Liu from Renmin University of China, Dr. Yuntao Wang from the Second Institute of Oceanography, Ministry of Natural Resources, and Mr. Zheng Guang Zhu from the China Aquatic Products Processing and Market Alliance. We know, of course, we welcome you to stay for the discussion. And since Dahai has been eager to start the panel discussion, so we will start with Professor Liu. Dahai, given your leadership in developing China's national standards for marine carbon sink accounting, this has been widely recognized as a milestone in China's marine carbon governance. Looks like you are ready to share with us what all this means about this marine carbon governance.
Many thanks to the host. Good afternoon. I'm Dahai Liu from University of China in Beijing. I want to introduce you. In Mandarin, my name Dahai actually means big ocean. It's a great honor to be invited and give a speech I want to share something about classification and accounting of blue carbon sinks. Uh, this is about myself. My research is about blue carbon and marine spatial planning. Right now, I lead a UN decade project called Global Marine Spatial Planning, and also served as a coordinating author for the UN World Ocean Assessment. And I my mm, presentation can be divided into three parts, and the host just messaged me to keep an eye on the time. Since my PPT is quite long, I will focus on construction of a standardized system for blue carbon sinks. The construction of a standardized system is an important solution and plays a fundamental role in blue carbon research. In response to this demand, our team developed China's first comprehensive marine carbon sink accounting standard. The establishment of standard for marine carbon in China is subject to six steps. Step one is pre-study, and step two is drafting and validation of the standard. Step three is collection of feedback. And step four is the standard sent for review. And the five is standard submission for approval. And the last step is the standard release. And our standard consists of five parts: scope, documents, definitions, accounting, and appendix. The major terms and definitions in our standard include ocean carbon sinks, mangroves, salt marshes, and so on. The assessment system in our standard also contains these six types. And here is the appendix for our standard. Currently, we are developing the next standard, the classification and the code of ocean carbon sink, which comprises six parts: scope, documents, definitions, and so on. Our standard reference are current publicly available standard, and our standard is clarified based on the following principles and methods. The classification and the coding of ocean carbon sinks include eight fundamental classification codes. Both of these standards plays a crucial guiding role in conducting investigations, monitoring simulations, and assessments of ocean carbon sinks, contributing to the establishment of a solid scientific foundation for the management of ocean carbon sinks. Oh, at last, I want to introduce our. We attempt to solve the financing problem of blue carbon project development through financial innovation.
I know you have a lot of material to show us. Apparently, I guess too much pressure for you to finish in a short time. But maybe
Okay.
we can have a discussion along this line later. Uh,
Okay.
I would like to move on to Dr. Yuntao Wang. Yuntao, first, welcome back from Africa. I know you had some wonderful experiences there. Maybe you can briefly tell us about your trip to Africa,
Okay,
South
thank
Africa.
you. Yeah, thank you, Dr. Zhang. So my recent trip to Africa was both inspiring and productive. I visited our close partners, the National Institute of Oceanography and Fishery in Egypt, and
Mm,
the Intergovernmental Oceanography Commission of UNESCO's Subcommission for African, that's in
mm,
Kenya.
mm,
And the purpose was to stress collaboration under UN Ocean Decade Framework with a particular focus on capacity building, which
mm,
has been emphasized by Dr. Weidong several times during his talk. And I was encouraged that our partner in Africa are highly positive about Ocean Decade's vision, and share our commitment to advancing ocean science for sustainable development. So we have discussed concrete steps to enhance joint training, technology transfer, and knowledge sharing to support African coastal states in building resilient blue economy. So anyone that are interested in developing collaborative relationship with African partners can reach out to me for helping to build the connection.
Wonderful. Okay,
Yeah.
that's great. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, now, given your role as the director of the International Cooperation Center under the Ocean Decade Framework, and also with a background in physical oceanography, how do you promote, let's say, for mitigating climate change, we need to do MCDR, like Weidong identified in his presentation about Ocean 20, or we call it ocean negative carbon emissions, the same thing. So how do you promote? Do you have a plan at your center toward the goal of Ocean Decade in its mitigating climate change?
So I think I totally agree that ocean play a key role to mitigation the natural climate change and the natural incidents. And so as a physical oceanographer, I have been working a lot for the impact of ocean dynamics and their impact to regulating the ocean interaction, including the carbon dioxide and other oxygens that will impact the climate. And also, I'm taking the lead of UN Ocean Decade program. It's called Monitor. So mitigation of natural incidents towards oceanic resilience. So I think under the UN Ocean Decade framework, we can promote international cooperation by facilitating the observational system, like Argo system, satellite system. So especially for the undersampled regions like the African coast to improve global carbon budget estimate. And secondly, we should developing the accessible modeling tools to help coastal nations assess their ocean-based carbon removal potential and ecological impact. And additionally, to fostering capacity building in carbon monitoring and blue carbon ecosystem management. So ensuring the developing state can contribute to benefit from the climate solutions. And ultimately, by grounding the operation in robust science, we can help translate the Ocean Decade mitigation goal into fair, effective strategies for ocean negative carbon emission worldwide.
Wonderful. Sounds like a very ambitious and exciting program. And let's move on to Mr. Zhu, Zheng Guang Zhu, a very unique perspective. Zheng Guang, give me your immense international experience in marine fisheries negotiations and marine fishery resource conservation. What lessons can we draw from the implementation of international marine cooperation projects for the Ocean Decade program?
Thank you, Professor Zhang, for your efforts, and thanks for the chair. And also, I would like to thank Professor Yu, and I learned a lot this afternoon, and he's a very, very, I mean, interesting presentation, and I learned a lot. I think before I make my point, I would like to also meet Professor Yu. I learned from his presentation. He mentioned I learned two books. The first book is The Yield. The Travel of the Yield. He didn't mention this book, but he mentioned the ocean literacy. I think that's quite interesting, and I think ocean literacy is a part of our ocean decades. The second book I see from his PPT is the Nansen Journey. I think that's also quite exciting human beings who do the risk and then do the scientific research. That's quite an interesting book. I think I will recommend Professor Zhang. Next time we may invite Professor Yu and other professors. We can do another round of talk about the ocean literacy. I think it could be more interesting. And my name is Zheng Guang. I'm from CAPMA, and most of my work related to the ocean. But my last 10 years, I involved two big ocean regional projects. If you allow me, I would like to share my screen. I think from the ocean ecosystem perspective, it's a huge challenge. And also, I noticed that the UN Ocean Decades, there is a challenge in sustainable feed the global population. This is my first project I involved as the environment officer for the UNDP Yellow Sea Large Marine Ecosystem. You can see, I think Professor Yu also mentioned the overall administrative structure of UN Ocean Decades. But this, my picture, is about a project. You can also see there is some administrative arrangement. You can see we have 6 working groups, including fisheries, mariculture, habitats, pollution, assessment, and government. That's a project. I would like to I just mentioned this project. We working together with South Korea, North Korea under UNDP GF support. And the second project I would like to mention here is a NORAD project sponsored. It's mostly focused on the promoting sustainability in Chinese fisheries in Yellow Sea and the Southwest Indian Ocean. Just now, Dr. Wang Yuntao mentioned his goals. I think he is ambitious, but I think this project, NORAD project, supported by Norway, they already implemented the project and they made a connection. And also, I think that point, Professor Yu also mentioned, in the next 5 years, we may do more collaboration through the project, not only in China, but also with other regional areas. For example, Southwest the Indian Ocean area, for example, in the Latin American area, because we have a lot of fishing there. So there are a few takeaways I would like to mention here. I think some of them takeaways, some of them mentioned by Professor Yu. So I think the commission and the financing support is key for the sustainable project. We know that UNDP Ocean Decade, we don't have the financial support. We need to finance ourselves. We need to find the grant by ourselves. I think that's for a sustainable project is very important. Another point is like transformative ocean science with industry development is very important. I think both Yuntao and Professor Yu mentioned a lot of African countries and South Chinese countries, they are interested. They need our science, they need our support, but they also very care about their livelihood. Their livelihood, I mean, is they need to feed themselves. So that's from that point, we need a sustainable ocean economy. So I think another point I would like to draw is like the mobilize all decades implementing partner. We know a lot of people involved this project, but I think Professor Yu also mentioned when we do the engaging work with the South African countries, also in South Chinese countries, a little bit harder. So we need we have different positions. We belong to different institutions, but for the ocean, we only have one ocean. So mobilize all the decades implementing partner is very important. I think lastly, I would like to say China government did a lot of work this year. For example, the ratified port state agreement. Also this year, we ratified the fishery subsidies agreement with WTO. I think that we did show our position. We need to do more, and we have the responsibility. And I think that's the thing I want to share with you guys. Before I close my comments, I would like to share a literacy which I read I carried a lot, which I mentioned in the beginning, ocean literacy. I think that's also quite important. This word is written by Rachel Carson. He mentioned when we think of the vast age of the earth and the sea, when we become accustomed to speaking of millions and billions of years, and when we remember that human life is but a brief moment in this immense span of time, we begin to realize how trivial are many of the things that worry us. I'm sure that our anxieties can be assumed by the encounter with the beauty and the mysterious rhythm of the nature, just as they can by music. I think uh, we 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 need to stay hungry and stay curious. Also, we because we only live once. I think all of us, we need to stay with once. Professor Zhang, I give the floor back to you.
Thank you so much, Zheng Guang, for sharing with us your perspective and also the writing by Rachel Carson, a wonderful expression of how humans and the ocean should be, in living together in harmony. Wonderful. Okay. Well, I think this is why I like to share my I guess my perspective of getting involved in Ocean Decade. What I have learned is we all we have our own interest. My own research is about archaea, a type of organism that not many people are aware of. Why am I drawn to fishery? Only come to this point under the Ocean Decade. I can link my research to fishery, to link my research to shipping business. These are the three fundamental pillars of the ocean governance, Ocean Decade. The fundamental research under IOC, the fishery under IFO, and also shipping business under IMO. All three things should be integrated toward the goal of SDGs. So anyone who's here in this audience, I commend you, I congratulate you for your being interested in today's seminar, to really jump out of your own box to learn a broader picture about ocean governance, about ocean policy, about ocean literacy. That's where we all should be going. So I think today's seminar has a very special meaning to everybody. So as I promised, my co-host, Yernar, always has something unique to share with us. Maybe, Yernar, you can tell us about your perspective on today's topic.
Thank you very much, Professor Chuanlun. I would love to make a short introduction to deliver information about our seminar series and deliver information about the Global One's program approaches and code of conduct for research. So first of all, I would like to thank Professor Chuanlun for his incredible kindness and truly global vision of scientific collaboration, regardless of territories and basins, for inviting me to participate in this very interesting series of seminars. For 2 years, my team has been conducting 2 UNESCO-endorsed projects in Caspian Sea. First is Caspian CDR, dedicated to research in microalgal CDR, and Team Caspi, its Ocean Climate Innovation Hub. But before UNESCO endorsement, we received a kind invitation from Professor Nianyu Jiao to join the Global One's program. This is a truly unique opportunity to draw attention to our unique basin, Caspian Sea. And I take every opportunity to spread information about the Caspian Sea. We in Caspian Sea particularly share the Global One's program tasks of creating a network of marine stations, because we believe that a local focus expands global intellectual boundaries. Well, so this seminar facts, this seminar series facts are we are reaching audiences outside China in all major social media, like the LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and X, with 6 seminar recordings and 6 short TikTok videos and numerous impactful posts. To date, we have 500 Global Ones program followers and almost 500 registered listeners of our seminar series from all around the world outside China.
Right.
And according to our observation, this series is not only timely, but slightly ahead of many seminars on ocean carbon sequestration. This is very interesting. Yeah.
All right.
And this summer we were busy on the Global Ones program approaches and code of conduct for research. And thank you, Professor Zhang, for this opportunity to work on this. And I believe our findings have good chances to stand as a robust, legally informed governance framework. It not only avoids harm, but actively supports responsible ocean negative carbon emission research within the context of the global climate crisis. So key takeaways for the code of conduct is it aligns with the principle of interpreting code of conduct in light of all relevant international law, balances the precautionary and prevention principles, strengthens its language around due diligence, and mandates that environmental assessment evaluate both harms and benefits. It strengthens the ethical foundation, improves consistencies across Global Ones documents, integrates key principles like equity, precaution, and transparency, as was recommended by Oliver Ashford from another version of Code of Conduct revised by him. It also sets the stage for regional adaptations through encouraging the development of regional annexes to Code of Conduct for enclosed or semi-enclosed seas like the Caspian Sea. So things that we can further discuss is it is important to pay closer attention to Article 13 because it describes of our code of conduct. It describes the creation of an oversight body and how this idea aligned with the current organization structure. And we may also pay additional attention to outcomes of the Global Ones program. So this is the very interesting work to do, and I would love to proceed further. Thank you very much.
Right. Thank you so much, Yernar. A true friend, a true partner of Global Ones. We really appreciate your time and effort you put into the TikTok short video. I'm very glad to learn that our international community is growing in terms of the topics we are having here for this seminar series. I am hopeful that the collective impact of this community will be huge. So I truly appreciate everybody's contribution. Global Ones is just representative of the whole ocean decade. Weidong Yu, Dr. Yu is leading the China's office in terms of China's perspective. I'm sure we'll all contribute to the global village, the global community, because we only have one Earth, one ocean, and one climate. 1.5 degree affects everybody. So it is to everybody's responsibility and obligation and enthusiasm to make it work, to recover from the current the current climate crisis. So given the time frame, I want to thank everybody for contributing to this seminar series. So thank you all again. We look forward to seeing you in another event.